When you're building green, what do you think the top 5 items are that make the most impact overall in a building? Or any, everything, whether it's the world, people themselves.
I think if I can only pick 5 things, first is we look at some way of producing energy on the site, whether it's solar or wind. Solar is easier to have the neighbors approve. Neighbors don't like the propellers, but that would be the first and foremost. The second would be any roof that doesn't have solar on it, we potentially put a green roof on it, cover it with plants. Because if we're ripping out the ground and building a building, it'd be nice to replace that ground somewhere else. And plus, it's very attractive too. If we're going to put plants on the roof, we can use that to filter rainwater. So when it rains, it goes through that, gets filtered naturally, and then we can collect that rainwater, which would be our third thing, and use that rainwater in the toilet or in the yard. And if we're going to use it in the yard, let's use the soapy gray water from the sinks and the shower and the laundry room, and we'll save that up and we'll use that in the toilet. And then the fifth and final one would be actually the construction itself. Instead of building out of little sticks of wood at 16 inches on center like every other building for the last 200 years, let's build it out of, I don't know, mud or straw or prefab panels that are well insulated and that are also cheaper if you think about it, and build a very energy efficient building. Those would be my personal top 5. I imagine a lot of people would have their own top 5, but those are the ones that we're kind of obsessed with here.
So would it be possible if you're working on a building that's basically roughly the same size, not going to look exactly the same size as another one that another company is working with, to do it at basically the same cost of the materials as one that's all the materials that are bad for you, bad for the environment?
Yes.
Like that.
Yes. And now we have 20 years of data to prove that. That we found that green buildings cost maybe 1% more, 2% more.
Amazing.
Or so. But remember, as I said before, the real savings is in the operation of the building.
That's why it amazes me, because 1%, then you're talking about paying off. And
in a commercial building, we're finding that with a 1% upcharge at the beginning for green, we're finding $67 a square foot on average in savings of operating the building. And that's a lot, and that's every year, year after year after year. Not to mention, of course, the savings of people just being happier. We found that in green buildings, we have higher sales in retail stores and higher productivity in factories and less absenteeism in offices. And really the biggest expense in a building is not the electricity and it's not the maintenance and it's not the water, it's the people. People are expensive, you got to pay those employees. If we get them happy, roughly $3 per person per square foot, right? If we can make them happy, then it more than pays for anything else that we can do.
So let's say I all of a sudden say, okay, either edit the house and make it as green as possible for what it is, or get a new house, and then you're busy. A lot of different builders are busy because there's a lot of demand all of a sudden. What happens then? People can't build green, or other architects need to learn how to do it. I mean, people don't want to.
We're already seeing that because we have architects calling us, and this is why we consult, because architects started calling us and saying our clients want us to build green and we don't know how. Help us. So we've been teaching other architects how to fish, so to speak, and teach them how to be green. There's really only 3 things that add any money to the cost of a building in terms of sustainability. The first one is solar panels. It's a huge upfront cost because it's a big out-of-pocket thing. And then we see a payback of, depending on who it is and how big the building is, anywhere from 5 to 10 to sometimes 12 years at the most. But ironically, the more power you waste, the faster they pay themselves off. The second thing would be certified wood, sustainably harvested wood. It costs about 20% more because you're paying for that kind of extra layer of protection. And really, it's up to the client at that point if they're going to do it. We don't get to do it on most of our projects, but we try. But if I can just by being smarter about the building, strip out the amount of wood I'm going to put in the building, then maybe I could take those savings and use that to pay for certified wood. And the third thing would be any sort of gray water system. Water, where we're collecting rainwater, we're collecting soapy water from the sink, and we're storing it in a tank, because water is still paid by your public city, municipality. It's subsidized. It doesn't really pay itself back that quickly. But it's an important thing to do. And I think in the near future, water is going to go through the roof. It's going to become even more important.
For those folks who want to, build green, and then they also want to not just say, I've got my house, I've taken care of my little world, but I actually want to inspire others, share with them, what way can they kind of look forward to actually making an impact that can help others either decide they want to build green? Is it that people are going to drive down the street and say, hey, your house looks interesting? Or how are they going to, share that to actually have other people
Well, I don't think you're gonna necessarily know they're building green just from the outside. In fact, there's no reason why it should. A building can look like anything you want it to look like and still be green. I think if they want to share that impact, there's a couple things they could do. They could get it certified. There's a thing called Green Point Rated at builditgreen.org. They can actually get their home certified green, and it goes in their little MLS listing. So when they sell the house, it gets listed as Green Point Rated. They can get an Energy Star rating. It's put on by the Department of Energy. In fact, it's very similar to Build It Green. It'd be something that they could do to talk about the greenness of what they've done. There's there's things like that that are a good way to kind of wear the badge of saying, look, I'm green.